What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Let's get right into it. Here to bring you a video discussing a prediction on Montez Sweat or Chase Young. I believe one of those two guys, or maybe even both, will be traded during the NFL draft. Now, let's get right into it. So, I lied to you guys yesterday. I lied to you guys yesterday. I said yesterday would be my final day doing pre-draft videos. Well, today I've done two already and I couldn't help myself. I had to keep on going. I got to get this content out, and this news keep on flowing. So, before we started with it though, look into my description section if you get a chance. I got two areas for you to look at. One, my social media links. Check those out. Follow me everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also check out my Amazon affiliate links. 4 items down there, all sports related, cheap, won't break your wallet at all. Let's get into the video. So, Montez Sweat, Chase Young both have one thing, well, a few things in common. They both are Commanders, and they both probably on the trade block, and they're both entering their fifth year deal with the Commanders. Yesterday, as we all know, it was public. Former number 2 overall pick Chase Young's fifth-year option was denied by the Commanders. He was due about 17.4 million if the Commanders had picked him up. They didn't do it. So this his fifth year will be his potential last year with the franchise. Now there's no news on Sweat just yet, but Sweat's fifth year is due for 11.5 million, and we all know they just signed Deron Payne to 4 years 90, and they have Jonathan Allen 4 years 72 million dollar contract. Excuse me. Those two defensive tackles aren't going anywhere. They're there long term. So yeah, it definitely makes sense for one or both of those two guys to be gone. Now, I want to do the Bears so bad as the only move for one of those two guys, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't commit to one team. I couldn't do my research like I would like to. It's kind of like I said, the day of the draft. The draft starts today, so it could happen at any time, prior, during, day 2 tomorrow, Friday, day 3 Saturday. So you never know. You never know, man. So I'm definitely, I have a couple teams in mind. I have about 5 teams I'm going to name for you guys, but I couldn't just narrow it down to one team. So let's get into it, man. Montez Sweat, Chase Young. Montez Sweat, 26 years old. Good production. Good production. Chase Young, 24 years old, former number 2 overall pick. Someone who, when I first started YouTube 3-4 years ago, I had one of my bigger videos. It didn't even hit 1,000, but it was during that time, my first ever video. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just speaking from my heart, from the truth around that time. No good thumbnails, no good description, no good tags. But I said back then Chase Young was overrated. And like I said, I stand on it now. I know the injuries play a part right now, but I said that during college days, about how his game would translate. I didn't think he'll be all that. And not freshman, his rookie year looked pretty promising, but ever since then been kind of plagued by injuries. So we'll see. But he definitely still has some potential in him. He's only 24 still, as I said, former number 2 overall pick, and he kind of got lost in the sauce. 2 years really with injuries. You kind of just forgot about him. And I forgot last year he ended up coming back. And he got to shake out the rust and play. Play more, get in better shape, get healthier, stuff like that. So I still think he'll be good. Just got to depends on where that new home will be if he does go somewhere else. There is a situation where he might can get franchise tag next season like Deron Payne almost was. Deron Payne, who is a different story than Chase Young, but Deron Payne was fifth-year option was denied also. But he ended up getting a long-term deal. I don't think that's the future for either one of those two guys. I think if one of those two guys do stay, they could be franchise tag for one more year or something. But we'll see where it goes. But let's get into the list, man. I got a couple teams for you guys where not all four, where both of these two guys could end up going. You never know. And it's been rumors out there about them being a package. I don't think that's the case. But I do think there's a possibility of both being moved, but maybe not to the same team. But we'll see how it goes. Let's get into it. Kansas City Chiefs. I think they are a threat to get one of these two guys. I would say, Chase Young being number 2 overall pick, Montez Sweat being 26, being a stud. I think a late first round early second paired with something might be good enough for it. And the Kansas City Chiefs picking at pick 30, I think, pick 31, I think will be just enough to get a guy like Montez Sweat or Chase Young. Montez Sweat through his couple years in the league, 37 tackles for loss, 29 sacks, 7 forced fumbles. As I said, he's nice. He's nice, man. And the Chiefs made some decent moves. They signed Charles Omenihu this past offseason. They drafted George Karlaftis, but you can never have too many pass rushers, especially one that's established, one that's a stud from the get-go. And Montez Sweat or Chase Young, if healthy, could be that potential guy for them. They let go of Frank Clark this season. He's still unsigned. He possibly could come back if this move isn't made. So you never know. But I definitely could see, Kansas City trading for one of these two guys long term to be their long term star at defensive end, pairing him with Chris Jones. Excuse me, who was Chris Young? Uh, Pairing him with Chris Jones would be ideal for the next couple of years. That'd be nice to look at. One more thing I'm curious in is the Arizona Cardinals. This is very interesting. So, as we all know, if you don't know, the Arizona Cardinals at pick 3 is kind of tricky. Will they stay? Will they trade back? The rumor is they want to trade back, but the other rumor is they might just stay there and get Paris Johnson Jr., which could be also their trade back target. But depends on where they want to trade back to. Some people's boards have Paris Johnson Jr. high, some have him mid level. So, kind of going with him at pick 3 is kind of strange, but it kind of sort of makes sense. As I said, I did a video on it last week, a prediction video on Paris Johnson Jr. going to the Cardinals. Kyler Murray gave him his, his words of not advice, his words of I can't even think of what I'm trying to say, but Kyler Murray wanted him. Kyler Murray is public knowledge. Kyler Murray wants Paris Johnson Jr. I think the Cardinals do what their star quarterback wants, and they're going to get Paris Johnson Jr. at whether it's pick 3, pick 10, pick 9, wherever it's at. I think they will end up getting Paris Johnson Jr. some way, somehow to appease their quarterback. So this is interesting now because they could have got a guy like Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson. So if they get Paris Johnson Jr. at pick 3 or pick whatever, and then they come back and double back later on and get their star pass rusher Montez Sweat, that definitely makes sense. What picks will be involved? I would think probably a third round this year, second round next year, or 2 and 2. I wouldn't be minding that 2 next year, second next year, two this year. Wouldn't be bad either. So I'm not mad at that. Possibly as well, if not Paris Johnson, you can get Will Anderson and Montez Sweat, two edge rushers from the get-go. So the Cardinals are in a good spot if this does happen, or a guy like Chase Young as well, instead of Montez Sweat. And they're all vice versa. This list goes for both players. It's not like just one fits the other, or one fits here and the other fits here. No, they both fit the same list. So the Cardinals could get Montez Sweat or Chase Young along with Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson. Depends on how everything shakes out. So this is possible. This is and I would like it as well. Next to my favorite pick, the Chicago Bears. They got a lot of financial flexibility, they got a lot of cap space the next couple years. They could definitely bring on Montez Sweat and Chase Young if they wanted to. If they really wanted to. That's probably not ideal, but it's definitely possible. They need edge rushing bad. They were worse last year in edge rushing pressures and sacks, along with my Falcons, who's on this list also. So this makes sense to me. Probably a first rounder in 2024 can't get it done, or two twos. A second this year, second next year, same as earlier. For the Cardinals could make sense for the Bears also. So yeah, this makes sense. This is my favorite pick, honestly, but you never know. You never know how it shakes out, but I would tend to lean towards the Bears as my favorite option. The Houston Texans makes sense as well. The rumor is right now, and my prediction is Tyree Wilson goes to the Texans. The rumor is either Tyree Wilson or Will Anderson with pick 2. Also, another rumor is keep saying rumors. The Texans might want to trade back from pick 2. If it's true, don't know. We'll see. But it could go C.J. Stroud at pick 2, go receiver at pick 12, and then they can end up getting Sweat or Chase Young later on during the draft with one of their draft picks, third rounder paired with a second rounder, or however it works out. This does make sense. Or they could go, like Will Levis pick 12 or Richardson pick 12, pick 2 Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson. Then you get Sweat or Chase Young, via one of the trades. So that wouldn't be bad either. And then my Falcons, like I said earlier, same, as all these other teams. We need pass rushing badly. Same as the Bears. We were ranked one of the worst teams last year with edge pressures and sacks. And we signed Bud Dupree to a 1-year deal. We brought in some other guys from the Saints also. But I think having a guy like Montez Sweat, having a guy like Chase Young and his potential, and hopefully he can stay healthy, I think would be an ideal move. And as I failed to mention earlier, any team that gets Chase Young, and I focus more on him than Montez Sweat, they will have to sign him to a long-term deal, probably 3-year, 4-year deal, but it will probably be heavily worded with a lot of injury risk clause and all that other stuff. Because like I said, he's injury prone, at least as it shows right now. He's been in the league for 4 years. He's been injured for 2 of those years. You know what I mean? For mostly 2.5 of those years. So we're gonna have to make sure that whoever pays him long term has some out. So that's gonna be the case with Chase Young, Montez Sweat. Not so much. You're gonna pay top dollar for his services, and this should be well deserved. He's a good player. Stay healthy for the most part. As I said, his numbers early are pretty good. Solid play. So I think one of these two guys are dealt during the trade deadline. Just depends on, which one teams will go after, which one could be cheaper. The more known prospect is clearly Montez Sweat. But you want to gamble on Chase Young, he could be cheaper. So we'll see how it goes, guys. So that's it for the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.